For the past 10 months, there's been this financial blockade of WikiLeaks, okay? Companies such as PayPal, MasterCard, Visa, and even Western Union have stopped consumers from using their credit cards or their debit cards for making donations to WikiLeaks. So what does this mean? It means that 95% of the revenue that WikiLeaks would get from all of these donors has completely gone away. So they've lost 95% of their funding, and now Julian Assange is desperate. He doesn't know what to do. He just recently gave an interview to the New York Times, and he said, look, if this continues, we got to shut WikiLeaks down. And temporarily, they have stopped publishing anything because they just do not have the funds to do it. Now, last year in 2010, it cost about $500,000 to run WikiLeaks. They had raised $1.8 million through donors. And so since they had some revenue saved, what they did is they used those reserves to keep WikiLeaks going even during this financial blockade. But 10 months later, Julian Assange is running out of money and he doesn't know what to do.
Now, earlier in the show, we had talked about the dangers of private corporations working with the state to crush dissent and to intrude into our private lives. For example, the big banks in New York City are working with the NYPD in spying on all of us. They've set up 3,000 cameras in downtown New York, and they are doing it from a joint operation. In this case, private corporations take their orders from the government saying, oh, you would like us to crush someone who is actually giving transparency to what you're doing? Well, no problem, can do. We will shut down all their sources of revenue. That
is exactly the case. Joe Lieberman was pressuring these companies to do exactly that, to stop allowing consumers to use these credit cards to fund WikiLeaks, right? WikiLeaks. And so when I initially read this story, I'm like, but this is illegal. You can't have companies stomping on our First Amendment rights, because if you're supporting WikiLeaks, that's you practicing your First Amendment right. How ridiculous is it that corporations are protected under the First Amendment, but we're not protected under the First Amendment? We don't have the ability to use our own money to donate to WikiLeaks.
Money is speech, unless corporate America says it's not, in which case they freeze your assets. So if you say, hey, I would like to support WikiLeaks through my speech, i.e. money, and I'd like to give it through, as an example, PayPal or Visa. They say, nope, you don't have those rights. Only we have freedom of speech rights. And we can use that money, or any money, to go buy politicians to do what we want. And then every once in a while, we'll return a favor to the politicians. Oh, you'd like to keep everything secret. We killed too many people in Afghanistan and Iraq that we never admitted? No problem, I can do that for you. Who would you like me to crush?
This is a disaster, because think about, even if you don't support WikiLeaks, right? Think about what type of precedent this sends. Because this means that now, if politicians don't like something, they can have these companies stop you from donating money to causes that you feel like you need to donate causes to. It's a disaster.
Now,
okay?
I'll give you a sense of it. WikiLeaks has not been indicted on anything. There's never been a case. There's never been any charges. So could they do this to any other organization that has not been brought up on charges? You know what? Greenpeace. They're a pain in the ass, always saving the whales and such. Yeah, we're stopping all their payments. The right-wing groups, we won't stop any of their payments. The left-wing groups, oh, peace. Oh, we're not interested in that. We're stopping your payments. And the list goes on and on. Oh, you voted for X or Y or Z. We're stopping your payments. You don't have speech rights. We have speech rights. What happens when you merge private corporations with the state? You get a form of government that shall not be mentioned in the media, okay? Go look into it.